was great.
You finished?
Game over, man. It's game over. What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
Hi everyone and welcome to KRYPTALK, that Irish guy that talks about Bitcoin. So the correction came and it was only 17%. So in this episode we're going to ask the question, is it possible for Bitcoin to break $20,000 before the end of the year? Let's get started. This is episode number 22 and the title of this episode is, Can Bitcoin break 20k in 2020? But first, a quick look at the charts. Okay, let's get the basics out of the way. This is the Kraken chart. These are 1 hourly candles and Bitcoin is trading at $18,071. Currently, it's breaking out of this triangle pattern and it's back above the EMA ribbon on the hourly. Sticking with the hourly chart, we can see that Bitcoin was in this ascending rising wedge pattern and broke to the downside. It peaked at about $19,538 and at the bottom of the crash, or the correction, it's about 17%. So no 20, 30 or 40% correction just yet, but that being said, a correction has come and maybe Bitcoin is ready to blast off to the upside and hopefully hit an all-time high before the end of the year. Now zooming out to the monthly, I've done this just to show us the significance of the $14,000 level. Just as a reminder, because I feel with the correction and the excitement of that over the last few days, the $14,000 level has been forgotten about. This purple line represents $14,000. Now if you go back here to December 2017, Bitcoin closed the month at $14,000. Even though it did wick up to $20,000, it actually finished off the month New Year's Eve, December 2017 at $14,000. Last year, the highest point Bitcoin wicked up to was $14,000, and then the last monthly close, this is the October close, it was nearly at $14,000, but it hasn't hit it yet. Now, with tomorrow being the last day of the month, Bitcoin is looking sure that this is going to be the highest ever monthly close on record, and it's a massive difference. Let's say if it just closes here now, that's a $4,000 difference. This not only puts it as Bitcoin's highest ever monthly close, but it's highest ever monthly close by $4,000, because it's $18,000 and the highest one before that was $14,000. So even though there was this 17% correction, Bitcoin has bounced back and it's way above the $14,000 level, which was a significant resistance level. Now, just in case you're new to the channel or new to Bitcoin and you're wondering why a lot of the say the YouTubers and analysts are calling for these 20, 30, 40% corrections, it's because back here in the run up in 2017, the 20, 30 and 40% corrections, they were commonplace. So it would just crash, people would proclaim it dead, and then it would bounce back. Now let's just say it does break to the downside now, and it breaks to 40% right now. That puts us still over $10,000. You know, I would still be bullish on Bitcoin there. I'm obviously bullish in long term, but even I'd still be bullish on the medium and short term, because you're talking, that's an $11,000 Bitcoin. Also, if you think about it, like Bitcoin has been trading now over $10,000 for 127 days. So even with that 40% correction, would still be over $10,000. Now for the last part of the TA, I'm going to start with the 1 hourly, but I'm going to analyze the crash using the EMA ribbon. I'm going to go from the 1 hourly to the 4 hourly to the daily and so on. So the crash began on the 25th of November and it was above the EMA ribbon. It was just kind of going to bounce off it, but didn't get support, crashed down to about 16,200 and then formed this consolidation triangle pattern here I have highlighted in green, and then it broke out of this triangle and then it's back above the EMA ribbon on the 1 hourly. Taking a look at the same situation, the 4 hourly again was above the EMA ribbon, crashed down below the EMA ribbon on the 4 hourly into the consolidation pattern and above, and it's currently above the EMA ribbon. Now look at what happened on the daily. This is interesting. This is what I really want to show you, because even though it crashed, it came out of this rising wedge pattern, it didn't actually ever drop under the EMA ribbon, just took a bounce off it and was supported by it, and it's continuing upwards. And finally, take a look at the weekly. It was still nowhere near the EMA ribbon, so it didn't even find support on the EMA ribbon on the weekly because it didn't get down that far. Okay, the final thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to address the title of this episode. Can Bitcoin break 20k in 2020? And to do this, I've gone back to December 2017. So here, these two daily candles, these two green candles, you have December 1st circled and December 16th. So the start of the month, so this is like about 3 years ago, opened the month, Bitcoin opened the month at about $10,000. And then just over 2 weeks later, it traded at its all-time high of $19,500, just under $20,000. Different, it's the Kraken exchange, different exchange with slightly different prices. But so it basically doubled its price in 16 days. Now, I know it's not the same situation here. It seems to be kind of slow, organic growth. It seems to be a bit more of a slow grind to top as opposed to these massive pumps and then 30-40% dumps. But I mean, if it's done that in 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, it's doubled its price. I think it can get another $2,000 before the end of the year. It's going to be very interesting. It's a very exciting time for Bitcoin. Could a crash happen? Absolutely. We might see those return to those 30-40% crashes. But personally, I think that the 17% dip, I think that's enough just to help Bitcoin cool off a bit. And I do think we're going to see an all-time high. If not the end of this year, definitely within 12 months. I've been saying it for the last few episodes. I think it's possible that Bitcoin can hit an all-time high this year. That's it for the charts for today. Just a quick side note, even though my dollar cost averaging experiment ended in the last episode, I'm going to keep continuing to buy €10 worth of Bitcoin every episode. I think it'll be interesting if I'm still doing these videos in a year's time or 2 years' time to look back and see if it's in profit or in loss. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. The first article we're going to take a look at in this episode is by Cointelegraph, and the headline reads, Bitcoin analysts explain what's next in the aftermath of Bitcoin plunging to 16.2k. This article basically explains that the price dropped shortly after a lot of whales transferred their Bitcoin from cold storage to exchange. So a whale is someone or an entity that owns more than 1,000 Bitcoin. So what they're doing is they're moving it from the exchange, from the cold storage to the exchange, and that's a sign that usually a correction is coming because they're going to sell. And they sold just underneath the all-time high, probably because they anticipated like a bigger correction at the all-time high. Maybe people, if are holding their Bitcoin, they bought a Bitcoin at 20,000 back in December 2017, and they're still holding, they'll want to break even. So that's why a lot of people anticipate that at 20,000. Analysts at Santiment said Bitcoin whales with 1,000 or more coins held, currently 16.7 million or more, sold off nearly immediately after the 19.3k price top 2 days ago. 11 of these whales actually sold off enough to no longer be in this 1,000 coin category just as price peaked. Now, what a lot of people would speculate is this is manipulation. So if, like, say you're a whale and you have a bunch of other rich friends who have like 1,000 Bitcoin or more, you can kind of, collaborate and kind of say, right, on this date, this time, you're going to sell your coins, and that will drop the price. And then what they'll do then possibly is when the price does actually crash, they'll buy back Bitcoin, but this time they'll actually get more Bitcoin for the price that they sold because it's now cheaper. Now, this article goes on to explain that analysts are looking at the bearish case, and what they're saying is that there's the bearish case revolves around two things. The first is that during previous bull markets, as I stated earlier in this episode, Bitcoin historically drops 30% or more before seeing the continuation of a rally. That still could happen. And second, short-term investor activity is increasing as the price of Bitcoin consolidates. So perhaps these short-term investors are seeing this consolidation pattern, the one we just broke out of, as an investment opportunity. The second article is also by Cointelegraph, and the headline reads, Weekend bull trap, traders remain cautious as Bitcoin price rebounds to 18k. So what a bull trap is, it's when the price has crashed or taken a correction and it gets a bounce and it looks like it's starting a new rally, but then people buy in, they open up long positions, and then it continues to crash even further, which could very well still happen. We'll probably know Monday or Tuesday of this week when the CME futures charts open up again. The article goes on to explain that Bitcoin currently faces resistance around 18,200. Now, if you look at the price here, I'm not sure if you can see that's very, very small, but Bitcoin is trading at 18,117. So that's true, and which is also the 10-day moving average on a daily chart, which is another indicator. So as Cointelegraph reported yesterday, some traders still anticipate Bitcoin to see another drop in the near term before the rally can continue. So maybe they're going to get that extra 13%, bring it down so it makes a total correction 30% or plus before continuing to the upside like it did in 2017. I'm leaning towards no, but I could be wrong. No one knows. Now, the article does go into a counter bullish scenario for Bitcoin, and one analyst quotes, there are two major Bitcoin correction types, minus 15% and minus 30%. Well, there's also minus 40, but anyway, declines. While anticipating the approximate $14,000 region, I noticed it's the first return to the mean and first oversold bullish momentum cross since the rally started, which is very strong signal. So wouldn't mind an all-time high before Christmas. Who's with me? I think everyone's with you. And the final article, sticking with Cointelegraph, the headline reads, high-priced 32,000 Bitcoin options show some pro traders expecting more of an upside. $32,000 per Bitcoin seemed unreasonable in October, but the 950% spike in the January call options suggests some traders think it's a possibility. So in short, no pun intended, there's a proportion of options traders out there who believe Bitcoin can reach $32,000. Okay everyone, that's the end of this episode. So if you've enjoyed the content, learned anything new or got any value from the content, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and as usual, sláinte. Bye 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 bye.